Hey, Sean, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you, Adam.
All right, I guess the obvious question would be, as we just heard from the professionals at UC, the fact that Damar is back here in Buffalo. Your reaction to that, whatever interaction maybe you've had with him, where does all that stand right now?
Yeah, I'm super excited that he's back in Buffalo, and what a job the team of docs and the medical team did out in Cincinnati, and now he's in great care here in Buffalo. We're happy to have him back, and I did have a chance to see him a few minutes ago. Brandon and I, along with Nate Bresky and Tabani Richards, were down there, and he's doing well, and a little bit tired, but it was good to see him in person for the first time in a while.
I was going to say, we heard the doctors describe a little bit that he's up moving around, that he was shouting during the game and setting off alarms at the opening kickoff. Can you describe what you saw from him today?
Yeah, I'll just keep it pretty general, Adam, just out of respect for Damar. He's just tired, but he's seems happy and happy to be back in Buffalo and around some familiar, familiar area to him, and so we're just taking it, and I know he's taking it just one step at a time here.
Thank you, Sean.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, John Worrell.
Hey, John.
In what's been, a roller coaster of an emotional week, how, I guess, uplifting is it, for this news to happen? Zach Taylor was just amazed, by hearing this news. I mean, just how could you have fathomed how remarkable this recovery has been?
No, I mean, it's, again, what a blessing. Just incredible progress that he's made, and incredible care that he's been under, like I said, both in Cincinnati and now here. So we're just very, very thankful for that. The team of the medical team that he's had around him, and again, singling out Tabani. Tabani's been with him the whole time, and so just thankful that Damar is back and resting in Buffalo here.
And just lastly, just knowing that he's back and knowing that he's at least in town and he's gotten this far, and after what's been really an emotionally draining week, does this maybe provide the team and yourself a chance to find a certain level, especially knowing that you need to focus on the playoffs?
Does it offer a certain level? I'm not sure.
Reach a level of, I guess, a good level of a base where of an emotional base, that the worries that you've had over those recent days can be displaced by relief and joy.
Yeah, I mean, again, just we'll follow the doctor's cadence on all of that. But it's clear that he continues to move and take steps in a positive direction here, and it just, even though I'm not physically with him right now, we're not physically with him. When you have, it's like anything else, when you have your family close by, it just feels right. It just feels better, and it's just good knowing that he's nearby.
Thank you.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, we heard Trey after the game. I mean, he was pretty open and honest and just really emotional about everything that has happened. And, he said, I can't unsee what I saw on the field. I guess just we've talked about the importance of mental health and bringing in extra counselors and things like that. I guess, does that continue? And I guess, how do you make sure that, guys are emotionally and mentally in an okay state, even knowing that Damar is okay, but just continuing forward here?
Yeah, getting through that game does not end the support that we'll have available to our players. It's ongoing. So that'll be a point of emphasis this week as well, and because again, as we've said from the start, people deal with things in different ways. So we'll support them and continue to do so.
And does the team or players have any plans to be able to see him in person? I know you said that you and Brandon were just able to, but how about players or anything like that?
Yeah, we will have a plan in place. We'll work through that at the proper time. So Brandon's done a great job, being on the phone with people from University of Cincinnati Medical Center and now here, along with Nate and the doctors on both ends to make sure that this was done the right way and that all those things, one of which is what you're talking about, friends being able to go see them are done the right way. So that's handled the right way. Or maybe you got your dog, your good looking dog behind you there, right? Just kind of came into the picture. So
Yeah, I know. I could see him kind
first
of.
I thought it was a bear. I'm just like, that's you got something sneaking up on you there, Heather. That's a pretty large dog you've got there. There.
Can you say?
What's your dog's name?
That is Otto.
Otto.
That
Pretty
is
dog.
That is Otto. Yes, yes. You know what? The description of bear is actually pretty accurate. You should see him in the snow. He looks like a polar bear, so that's very accurate. Oh, thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Good afternoon, Coach. Pat Freeman from the Buffalo Criterion newspaper. I want to congratulate you and the team on an outstanding job yesterday under such circumstances. And also, it's good to hear that Damar is back here in Western New York.
Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Now at the task at hand, I know there's another subject that I know you over the years. Your first player that you chose when you got here was Tre'Davious White. And yesterday, he seemed to be moving back into form. How important was that for him, but also for you, him being your first draft choice when you arrived?
Yeah, he did. He had what I would say was his best game this year, and he's worked hard, and he continues to work hard. It's he's an extremely conscientious young man, and that's why we picked him. One of the many reasons why we picked him when we did and where we did. And the confidence that we have in Trey has never waned at all. I mean, there's a process that you go through when you come back off of an injury like that, and he looks to be really rounding into form as we get through towards the back half of the season here.
My last question to you: you oftentimes talk about the difficulty of playing a team twice. Now you're playing the Miami Dolphins 3 times. What types of challenges does that offer you this week in a playoff scenario?
Yeah, they're a good football team. They've beaten us once this season, and they're very talented, and the speed that they have on their roster is impressive and good team speed. So we've got to put our minds together this week and come up with a good game plan and then have a good week of practice in terms of our preparation to be ready to go.
All right. Thank you, Coach, and good luck to you.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, Sean, as you guys begin to prepare for the Dolphins game this weekend, how will you continue to let Damar and just the togetherness of this team inspire you as you move forward in the playoffs?
Yeah, man, I think, more than anything, like I said earlier, like having him nearby will give us more comfort. I know his parents are going to be with him there, and I think that helps as well. And knowing that he's well taken care of, he's got a great medical team around him here in Buffalo, and he just had a chance to meet with some of their staff, and very comfortable with the team that's around him. And I just think overall it just continues to put our minds at ease that he's in good hands and that he's moving in the right direction.
And then you got to experience the atmosphere yesterday, of course. What are you hoping the atmosphere is like this Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, I know our fans, and they love playoff football, and we can't wait to be out in front of them this weekend. And they did such a fantastic job this past weekend in supporting the team, and the crowd noise. I mean, it's tough to play here, and I think anyone that plays here would tell you that. And no one likes coming to Buffalo, especially this time of year. So I can't wait to see our fans take full advantage of that this weekend.
Thanks, Coach.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, I was wondering if you could just tell us a bit more about when you found out that Damar was going to be able to leave UCMC. Did you realize it was trending that way today? What was that moment like of just finding out he had reached that milestone?
Yeah, Brandon, like I said, has been the main point person on that, at least from my end. And he's spent a lot of time yesterday afternoon, evening, and then again this morning, getting that organized and arranged, and along with Nate Bresky and Tabani. So, just very, very appreciative of his efforts, of Brandon's efforts, and everyone that's worked on this to get it done the right way, and respect Damar's privacy, and most importantly, care for him.
We've heard so much this week about everything that Tabani has done. From that standpoint, I was wondering, when we see him as more in like a work perspective, what can you tell us about Tabani's personality, just to, as we're all learning more?
Yeah, Tabani's great. He's one of those workers that no job is too small, and at the same time, no job is too big. He's a hard worker. He's a great team player, and which has obviously been exemplified in what he's done the last. I don't think he's even been home yet since we left for Cincinnati, and that includes today, I think. So just a true servant, and cares so much for the people around him and these players. It's my hat goes off to him.
And then one more, this overlaps a bit with what Heather was asking about, just kind of that ongoing supporting players, knowing that it's going to be still waves from here. Mitch Morse mentioned last night how there's kind of, when there is such an emotional high like yesterday's game, then you have to guard against a letdown. What have you seen, from players today, being able to help them through that first wave of, because there's so much good news, we're so glad to be talking about that, but also like knowing there's quiet moments in between that, navigating those ups and downs?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we have to have our focus where it needs to be, and that's on a game plan in the Miami Dolphins. Damar is in good hands, and he's, as we know, moving in the right direction, and he's now local to us here, which helps. So I think you saw a little bit of that evolution during the game yesterday as well. I mean, the first play obviously gets so much publicity, but then you have to play after that. There's 14 minutes of football plus in the first quarter there to go. So it's I think our players did a good job of experiencing that yesterday, and pushing through it, and managing the highs and lows of the game, and then coming out on the other end, and now getting some rest and a chance to just kind of push back and reset a little bit this week.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, speaking of that first play, I don't know if you've heard this yet, but we were just told by doctors that when Naheem ran that first one back, Damar jumped up and down, set off every alarm in the ICU, was going crazy. What's your reaction to that, and hearing, how excited he got?
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I think I'd heard some of that, but not maybe all of it. So I appreciate you sharing that, Elena. And that's great. It's great to hear, and super excited for him, and that he got a chance to watch it for sure. And he's such a great person, and he's got such a positive spirit. Doesn't surprise me.
And then I was curious, you talked about how during the game, guys kind of had to settle down and get him in the rhythm of it and all that. When you watched it back, or sat back when you got home last night, were there any like takeaways that you were, once you got a little time to think about the game, that you were like, wow, I'm proud of this, guys, because we were able to get through it in this way? Or maybe anything that stood out for you when you were able to take a step back?
Yeah, I just think overall, Elena, that, we talked about it a little bit after the game in the locker room. You learn through things when you go through experiences like this. And I think more than anything, we will all have grown as people and as men in this case, the guys that were out there on the field, and by going through an experience like this. And but just overall, our organization, when you share a situation like this, and you can come together you become better because of it. So I think more than anything, it was, I don't know, just a little bit of a sense of accomplishment that we worked through this together, and now a chance to reset a little bit here.
Thank you.
Sure.
Coach Mookie Hawkins, Waffle Sports Cincinnati. How you doing today?
Good, Mookie. How are you?
I'm good, Coach. Man, what's victory Monday for the 7th straight time. But it is a new season. So how would you assess yesterday's victory, Coach?
Well, again, good to get a win. I thought we did some really good things in all 3 phases. Things that stand out, obviously, are the 2 kickoff returns on special teams. And I thought offensively, we connected on some situations down the field. Got the run game going, and I just feel like defensively, we were able to get some takeaways and play some good reds on defense at the same time. So there's some good there. There's always things to work on though, and those stood out. And that's where our focus has to be this week, in making those necessary adjustments so we can move forward.
No doubt, Coach. You mentioned, the interceptions by your 2 linebackers there, the returns on special teams, and, the big plays in the passing game, as well as contributions from your run game. What is needed to have that consistency throughout the game?
Well, I mean, it's, that's what we work on every week, the consistency. So it's, I think just overall, continuing to try and improve our quality of play. And that's where our focus needs to be. And that really starts for us by getting the rest, over the next day here. And then us putting together a good game plan. And then the guys coming in with the right mental approach, that we're really on a 1-game season at a time type of approach here. So, this is the time of year you've got to be at your best.
One more, if I may, Coach. You've been playing from prime time from Thursday to Tuesday, Thursday back again, Sunday, Saturday, and Monday. How refreshing is it finally to get a 1:00 game on a Sunday? How helpful is it?
Yeah, we'll play at any time. I know in the playoffs you're playing at any time. So yeah, it's 2 back-to-back Sunday 1:00 games, 2 back-to-back home games is a welcome sight. I can promise you that. But all that being said, we've got to tune our game up a little bit this week and get ourselves ready to go against a good Miami Dolphins football team here.
Absolutely, Coach. Have a great week of practice.
All right, thanks.
Hey, Coach, if I'm not mistaken, the doctors revealed that a few of Damar's teammates met him and either rode with him to the airport or something to that effect. Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, I can't speak to that. It's, to my knowledge, it was his teammates, not player teammates, but Tabani was one of them. I can confirm that as a teammate, at least.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now moving forward, as you approach the postseason, you may have already answered this partially, but what are some strategies you can fall back on to potentially not totally move forward, but move forward the best you can from the situation? Is there anything in your past experience that you could obviously not literally fall back on, as this is an unprecedented situation, but maybe fall back on a little bit?
Well, I mean, I think you come back to the leaders, right, of our football team, our captains, and their experience, playing in the playoffs, their experience now as leaders going through a situation like we just went through, and we continue to progress through that as well. The support that we'll have on the floor here, and that we've had and will continue to have for the players is a good thing to have around. But at the same time, we have to get ourselves ready to go to play playoff football this weekend.
Thanks for your time.
Sure.
Hey, Coach, Jesse Kirsch from NBC News. Appreciate your time today. First question for you. I know obviously you just were able to see Damar yourself. You and members of your staff and your players have been able to talk to him by text and on FaceTime over recent days. But now that he's, as you put it, physically closer and potentially going to be able to have visitors in the days ahead, can you just speak to how you could see him and how he hopes to be a part of the playoff push for your team now that he's physically nearby, how that could, change the way he can influence the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I just think, having him nearby, you can feel, his energy, and it just feels like he's back where he's back home. And I think that's great news. And we're encouraged by his progress. And, he still has obviously some things to go through with the medical team and the care that he's under. And we have to handle our business here as well. He would want us to do that, as he has expressed before. So, each of us has a job to do, and we talk about accountability a lot around here. We're accountable to one another to get that done.
It's incredible to see the pace of his progress, and obviously it sounds like he is downgraded. I saw the new hospital that he's at says stable condition. Injuries happen in this sport quite often, certainly not on this level every day, but can you take us inside the mind of you and your staff right now? Does this feel like how you treat keeping an eye on any other player who's injured now, or does this still feel like a very different injury?
Well, I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. We understand the significance of the injury and the situation, and like we care for all of our players, we're always thinking of them and praying for them, and wanting them to get back to 100% as quickly as possible. So it's ongoing care; it doesn't end, and it's ongoing thought and prayer as well. So that said, the team has to continue to move in a direction towards playing the wild card round this weekend in the playoffs. And like I said, that's what we're called to do, and that's what we have to execute this week.
And then just finally for you, Coach, obviously yesterday was an incredibly emotional day and a football game as well. So you had to be focused on that on top of everything else. Now that you've had a little bit more time away from it, can you just comment, have you seen any particular moment from the other games? Maybe you've been able to watch anything that went on in cities all over the country to pay tribute to Damar and your team. If any moment surprised you or stuck out or especially hit home for you?
Well, I thought the night before the game, the Saturday night game with Tennessee and Jacksonville, stood out. A number of us got a chance to watch the beginning of it pregame, where Jacksonville and Tennessee came together in prayer for Damar, and then just the continued support throughout the day yesterday. And when I got a chance to get home last night and watch the night game, or at least some of it, and watch the pregame warmups again with the T-shirts being worn, and this people in the stands and Green Bay and their support. It's really incredible to watch how encompassing it's been around the NFL and around the world, really. A friend of mine sent me a text. There was a castle in Ireland that was lit up blue, to support Damar and the Buffalo Bills. So I just think it's been incredible to watch people come together and come together for a common goal here.
Hey, Sean. I don't know about you. I'm sure you take the process a little bit differently, but I've already found myself, searching on social media about the quarterback situation that's going on with the Dolphins and trying to find some clarity there. But as a coaching staff, how do you guys kind of navigate all of the unknowns that seem to be with your opponent right now?
Yeah, I think we got a pretty good feel, for where that's going to go. We'll just see how it unfolds, but I think we got a pretty good feel, and we've got to prepare all the week anyway. So, we control what we can control, and obviously they're going to control what they can control down there. So that's what we've done all season, and that's what we have to do this week.
When you get ready for a playoff game, does anything change? I know I've heard people say like, oh, in the playoffs, you got to do this different, or you got to do this different. Is there any fundamental change that you think is different about playoff football compared to regular season football?
I think it depends on who you ask, and what message they want to send to their team, I guess. I think there are some differences that happen every year that you have to adjust to. I think the biggest thing is just making sure that our young players who've never played in a playoff game before are ready to go and understand that it's going to move faster and be a little bit more physical. And then things get magnified in terms of taking care of the football being one. And so preparation helps, and preparation is the key as we move forward here.
Thank you, Sean.
Sure.
That's all for today. Thanks, Coach.
Okay. Yes.